let's get to the Sky News. This clip did numbers.
Abdul El-Sayed is the left-wing poster boy chosen by Democrats to run for the Senate in Michigan. He's progressive, a candidate who took on the party establishment and won. It reflects a Democratic Party divided, struggling for unity, struggling for a coherent message ahead of midterms and, of course, the presidential election in 2028. Donald Trump, he's calling this communism. He says he's happy with the result, says that Abdul El-Sayed is full of it, although he used a stronger word than that. I put that to Abdul El-Sayed. I'm from Sky News in the UK. Nice to meet you. James Matthews.
Right now.
Very, very quick, one question. Donald Trump says that Donald Trump seems to think you're a gift for the Republican Party. What do you say to that?
Good to meet you.
Abdul, Donald Trump seems to think you're a gift to the Republican Party. What do you say to that?
I'm a gift to the state of Michigan, God willing, and hope to win this election.
And he says, if you pardon the language, you're full of What do you say to that?
At least I don't let mine go in the middle of the Oval Office.
If he goes on to win the Senate race in November's midterm elections,
God damn. He said the president dookie in his diapers, dude. God damn. I mean, that clip is going to do incredible numbers. Smooth. It's true. Look at the power move too. Look, the arm over the body. Look.
Good to meet you.
Abdul, Donald Trump seems to think you're a gift to the Republican Party. What do you say to that?
I'm a gift to the state of Michigan, God willing, and hope to win this election.
And he says, if you pardon the language, you're full of What do you say to that?
At least I don't let mine go in the middle of the Oval Office.
If he goes on to win the Senate race.
That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Dude, that he's quick with it. He's quick with it. I'm telling you right now, this is going to hit wine country like Hiroshima. Okay? Enola Gay dropping a nuclear atom bomb. Wine moms that hear this are going to go, oh my God, I have never seen, why can't Democrats be like this? This is going to slap the Midas Touch constituency in the face. This is going to be the real Will Smith slap heard around the world, okay? I'm telling you right now, everything down to like the power move, putting his arm around the reporter, like Midas Touch. Oh, it's, of course, 5 million views on this already. Just wait until the Donald Trump shit his pants in the White House clip. Like, for me, it's a little bit corny. It's fine. For us, it's a little bit corny, okay? But I'm telling you, for this clip uploaded on TikTok has 1.5 million views and 157,000 likes in 11 hours. God damn. Yeah, see, this is exactly how Dems need to respond to Trump's bullshit. Because, like, the reality of the matter is this. Everyone wants a Trump, okay? This is kind of, we're kind of finally seeing why Trump was so captivating for so many people. Because it really is a cult for Trump. It really is a cult for Trump. Trump was able to do stuff like this all the time, okay? Trump was able to do stuff like this all the time, and he paired it up with like a white supremacist narrative, with a white supremacist agenda that was obviously like very appealing to some of the worst qualities in people, right? And Trump was the first in some respects. There's decorum before Trump. There's a pre-Trump and post-Trump universe that we're in. And Democrats, it took them like 10 years to finally get to that point. Some of them were trying to do it in the last 2 years where they would say fuck or shit or bitch, right? When they got mad. But that's not the point. The point is being quick on your feet, being witty, and flipping the narrative immediately back. America loves a bully, unfortunately. I don't think it's unfortunate. I'm a bully. I bully bullies. Why do you think so many people hate me? I have no time. If you are going to go after the weak, the marginalized, the vulnerable, I am going to be your enemy. I am going to bully you back. That's it. And someone like Donald Trump absolutely did that, right? Someone like Donald Trump was constantly putting the crosshairs on those who were less fortunate. Yeah. When they go low, take it to hell. I support this. Respectfully, being the bigger person has gotten us this shit. This is how all them should behave. Thank you. See? It's refreshing. It is refreshing. And it's also refreshing because this is a juxtaposition. Donald Trump is a television guy, a fail son, real estate guy, right? He's a reality TV guy. Abdul Sayed is a doctor, a Rhodes Scholar, someone who worked in public health. So that is catnip for a specific part of the Democratic Party's fedayeen. The fact that you have a Rhodes Scholar who went to Oxford, 2 degrees, who's worked in public health, who's been a public servant, turning around and just dropping that. It's great. I'm just glad that the person doing it is also a person whose policies I align with. You know what I mean? A person who I trust. He's buff. He's handsome. He's witty. And on top of that, he's got great policies. It's perfect. It's another Zoran moment, you know? It's another Zoran moment where I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God we got some folks, you know? Thank God we got some people that can basically do what we have wanted for years. Because a lot of the, this is also like a part of what Bernie was incapable of doing. Like Bernie is Bernie. He's straightforward. What you see is what you get. He's a bit of a curmudgeon. He's very stubborn. He's only advocated for the same things over and over again for 80 years, right? So he didn't have that, you know, television ready quality. And I guess part of that is because he was from a time before television, ironically enough, right? This, on the other hand, absolutely brings into the fold the millennials, the Gen Xers, the wine moms, the people that are so goddamn sick and tired of Donald Trump's behavior, Donald Trump's violence, Donald Trump's corruption, his cruelty, someone who can actually take it back and slap him in the face with it. So yeah, I saw this early on, obviously, when I first linked up with Abdul, but I think many other Democrats are going to see this as well. Many other Democrats are going to start to recognize this as well. They're going to say, this is our guy. Okay? This is our guy. He has all of the qualities of uniting different subsects of the base. For the bros, he works out. He also is no nonsense, no frills, right? For the low propensity voters who are anti-establishment voters, you know, the people who want to like shake things up, he's got the policies, he's got the vision. And for the regular Democrats, the ones that are the Democrats that vote for the mythical moderate, he's got the anti-Trump He's got all the anti-Trump qualities. You know what I mean? Like, he knows how to slap him back around. So yeah, I'm not very worried, but I will say this. For all of these centrist consultants, what did we see that you couldn't? Okay? What did we see? What did we all see in Abdul that you couldn't? Because if you were to ask me at any point in this campaign, I told you I was very confident about his chances, and I still am very confident about the general too. So if you're wrong all the time, and you're wrong professionally, at some point you got to eat humble pie. Is it the paychecks that you're getting that makes you blind to this person who's able to captivate a unique coalition of voters that is the secret sauce? Same with Zoran. You didn't see it with Zoran. You said Zoran's going to be a failure. You said Zoran is going to fail. He's too radical, you said. You said New York Jews will oppose Zoran, that he's anti-Semitic. He wasn't, but you said it nonetheless. And if you recall, and this Twitter user also recognized it, I said, what did I say over and over again in the primaries? I said, Abdul's holding back. Okay? Because Abdul, in the primaries, was running against Haley Stevens. One, a white woman, and two, a Democrat. Abdul was holding back in the primaries. I kept telling you that. I said, listen, once we get to the general, you'll see a very different Abdul. You'll see him unleashed. Now we're in the general. And now he can take the training weights off. The gloves are off now. So yeah, it's going to get very exciting. But I hope this is maybe not for the consultants who are paid not to know any better, but I hope this is a lesson for the liberals, the remaining tiny constituency of liberals who spend a good deal of time on the internet, who get their notes from these consultants, and the wannabe consultants, the liberals who actually don't work with campaigns or candidacies at all, but simply behave like they're DNC consultants. I hope this is a learning moment for y'all. All right? Sometimes it's okay to trust the process. Sometimes it's okay to believe. Yeah, the Zoran analysis went from he has no chance in the capital of capitalism to, of course, he won. New York City is communist overnight. It's hilarious that in the alternative universe of establishment Dems, they didn't lose twice to the weakest GOP candidate in history and only squeaked by in 2020 thanks to a once-in-a-century global pandemic that killed millions. Yeah, their fear. Dr. El-Sayed was paving a path for progressives to seize the party's presidential nomination in 2028 and then go on to lose the general election. This is why not only have I been confident about Abdul's chances from the start, but have also repeatedly mentioned to all of you, to anyone that will listen, the reality that they do not fear our failures. What they fear is our success, because our success will be so loud and so powerful that it will be heard all across the country. Okay? They do not fear our failure, but our success. They are worrying about the fact that politics are changing, that old norms and old rules are being written over in front of their eyes, and they're terrified because the way that they made their money for the longest time was by sticking to the same narrative, sticking to the same script. Pivot to the center, pivot to the center, pivot to the center. Don't offend the corporate overlords. Pivot to the center. Right? Don't put people over money. Put money over people. They'll dump boatloads of money in front of you. They'll destroy you. They'll besmirch your reputation. They'll smear you. You won't be able to out-organize. You won't be able to out-organize organized money. Well, it turns out you can. Okay? It turns out you can. So the first victory in the primaries from a campaign that was being outspent 12-1 was very significant. Now the real race is here.
America's first Muslim senator. He campaigned on universal health care, abolishing ICE immigration, taking big money out of politics. Israel, Gaza.
You can out-organize corporate PACs and foreign lobbyists. Not only we can, and we did. We did do that.
That was a big issue here. It splits Democrats between younger pro-Palestinians and the old guard that leans Israel. It put a lot of money behind El-Sayed's rival, who was more centrist in her politics. There's a buzz around El-Sayed. There's no doubt about that. The party has taken a left turn. The Democrats' challenge is in deciding what party it wants to be.
After a bitter primary season in Michigan revealed divisions among Democrats, the party is attempting to show how unified it is as the midterms get close, and it did it pretty fast. Michigan's Democratic Party held a unity rally last night to celebrate its statewide ticket, including U.S. Senate nominee Abdul.
Like, I've gotten this race right so far. We're wearing the same suit, by the way, which is kind of crazy. As a friend of the show, we didn't set the suit thing up on purpose like that. That's crazy. We're twinning. So yeah, Eugene Hasanabi, a friend of the show, certified Hasanabi friend of the show, Eugene. So what I was going to say is this. So I was pretty on it from the start. I was very confident of Abdul's chance from the start because I knew he had the makings of a great campaign. He had the fundamentals, he had the charisma, he had it all. But I will admit, when I got to eat a little humble pie, when I got to eat crow, I will admit it because I call balls and strikes, and I'm always honest with you. How quickly the Democrats snap back into being a normal party that wants to maintain a Senate majority shocked me. It shocked me to my core. The fact that those endorsements came in, boom, 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 one after the other, immediately after it was established that Abdul was the winner of the primary, that made me happy. It made me happy. It didn't even take a day. Kirsten Gillibrand maxing out to Abdul. The Senate majority PAC, the Dem Senate majority PAC, immediately coming out with not one but two banger ads. Kamala endorsement. Haley Stevens immediately going out and stumping for Abdul. That actually shocked me. The reason why I say this is because I was looking at the way the consultants were talking about it, right? I was looking at the way the consultants were talking about it, the way that, Neera Tanden was talking about Abdul, the way that like all of the weirdos on Twitter still tried to take pot shots at Abdul, pot shots at me to get at Abdul, leaning into Republican narratives. I thought that the party establishment would place more emphasis on delivering a message to ensure that they can maintain control over the narrative that like progressives can't win in swing states. I genuinely thought that level of cynicism would be demonstrated. I was wrong. I was wrong. Okay? So I'll admit it. Democrats, establishment Democrats, you have shocked me so far. Because I actually thought that they would turn around and say, nope, we can't let this kind of populist sentiment prove resilient and successful in a state like Michigan because it goes against the last 40 years of narrative building that we've leaned into. That's also part of the reason why I believe, that Abdul al-Sayed is going to surge and destroy Mike Rogers. The Democratic establishment putting their weight behind Abdul creates this unbelievably powerful force. This unbelievably powerful force that is an antidote to Trumpism. Okay? Because the reality of the matter is you still need the money. You still need the institutional backing. It's just a lot of people don't realize that. They think, oh, no, we can do it. We can do it our way. You can do it our way in the primaries, but you still need it. And especially, and what you don't need is your supposed allies, the Democrats coming after you aggressively, right? You don't need that. That's not good. That's not healthy. That made Zoran's chances far more difficult in the New York mayoral run, if you recall. I mean, Andrew Cuomo coming out with the rest of the centrist establishment Democrats and the entire weight of the Republican Party attacking Zoran Mamdani made that race far more difficult. Okay? The dead enders. So I'm happy. I'm happy to see the establishment Democrats snap into action and do the right thing. Now, there are those who oppose it. There are those who oppose this. There are those like Third Way, like that Michael De La Rosa guy. There are those who are now continuing the grift and slowly but surely presenting themselves as opposition to the Democrats. Because once you win the primary and your general election is the only track to a Senate majority, and people come out against that candidate and even entertain Republican narratives, it's over. When they come in and start leaning into Republican narratives, it's over. You're an op. You're a fascist. You're a fascist collaborator. You're collaborating with the fascists. You are no different than the people who say they'll vote for the Republicans. And some of these guys are saying they'll vote for the Republican over Abdul anyway, which is completely unacceptable. Like, you can say a lot about me. You can say my lack of enthusiasm around Kamala Harris was what made it, was the reason why Kamala Harris lost, which is really weird because now they say I should stay the fuck away from campaigns. The very same people who said my endorsement for Kamala Harris, my lack of endorsement for Kamala Harris was make it or break it, are now turning around and saying my endorsement of all these other people is actually harmful. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened. And I don't know why they're saying this now. I wish Abdul and the candidates we help support would push back harder when media misrepresents you. They don't have to defend every take, but they should defend you against dishonest framing. I mean, look, there's an election going on. My expectation is not that a person running for office is going to know the context of every single clip or anything like that. The best thing from my perspective, the best thing that they can do, because I do need like some institutional aid, right? I do need it for sure. The best thing they can basically say is this: look, this is a medium that makes itself readily available This is a medium that makes itself readily available to clips out of context. This person is a shock jock. You're not going to agree with everything he's saying, and I don't either. But at the end of the day, the Bernie answer was the best one, where it's like, look at the totality of what this person is advocating for and understand why he's popular. He's not popular because of the clips that you're presenting here. He's popular because he is pushing for the same message that we've been pushing for years and years. And he's been able to cultivate an audience of door knockers and activists and advocates, and many of which actually come from very unique backgrounds. You know, people who were formerly Republican, people who've never voted, people who never thought that they would vote for a candidate are now out there. Very young people in comparison to who normally participates in these primaries. They're out there and they're doing the work. And that work actually led to a candidate that they like that was outspent 12-1, winning against unbelievable odds. And that's it. That's it. That's the best possible thing. That's my expectation, you know. Glenn Greenwald went hard for Hassan. Jon Favreau suggested candidates should stay away from streamers. There's no way Jon Favreau said that. I mean, look at the duality. Look at the duality. Should have campaigned for Kamala. Talking about me. Actually, getting Hassan out of the AES campaign will help him win more than anything else. Always wrong. I'm going to clip both of those things. Jon Favreau said that. So you're taking all the hate and Abdul and Ilhan are DPS? Yeah. It's just very funny. It is very funny that it's the same people who are like, we want a Joe Rogan of the left. Hassan is the Joe Rogan of the left. And they were like, never mind. We don't want Hassan to be the Joe Rogan of the left. We'd not like that. It's the same people who were like, Hassan should have campaigned for Kamala Harris. Now they're like, don't campaign for candidates that you campaigned for. You know? You know? Now let's talk about the Kamala Harris endorsement, because there are a lot of people who are mad. They're mad all the time, and they're mad about this too. Okay? And what's interesting about it is that I don't think the Kamala Harris endorsement of Abdul al-Sayed or the Pete Buttigieg endorsement of Abdul al-Sayed is what you think it is. I had the same exact opinion on Barack Obama, Barack Hussein Obama's, appearance with Zohran Mamdani. I think things like that are not indicative of the moral impurity of the likes of Abdul al-Sayed, or they don't signal what you think it signals. For many, they see that and they go, "Oh, these guys are phony, and they're going to betray us. They're compromised." I don't think you realize law on black. Of course, we are mad living in an anti-black world. Wait, what? No, I'm not even talking about. No, this has nothing to do with black people. I'm talking about like the leftists. Like there are leftists out there who are like very anti-Kamala. I mean, I'm obviously very critical of Kamala myself. And they're saying like, well, Kamala Harris oversaw the genocide of the Palestinians alongside Joe Biden, and you're supposed to be this anti-Zionist. Like, why are you not applying BDS rules to Kamala Harris? And what's really interesting about this is I don't think people understand. It's the actual opposite. The fact that Kamala Harris is endorsing Abdul al-Sayed, one, favors Abdul al-Sayed, for sure, especially in the demographics that Abdul underperformed in comparison to Haley Stevens. But it actually is a role reversal. At this point, it's a mutually beneficial situation, but it also signals that the environment has changed. The environment has shifted so radically that someone who was in the crosshairs of AIPAC is getting an endorsement from an AIPAC-backed former presidential candidate. The environment is the exact opposite of 2024. Things like this are going to continue happening, just so you understand. Lol, that's also not BDS. That's not a thing the movement is asking for. I know, I was jokingly saying, like, they're saying you should do a BDS on Kamala Harris. Yep, it shows that Abdul is setting the pace. It only makes sense to treat Abdul as a potential op if he changes his stances. Yeah. What is this? Damn, he's so good at this. It's such a shame he's wasting. Dude, stop. Dude, guys, no more. No more of this person, please. I don't want to hear this person. I don't want to hear from the other, like the other people who are working for free for the DNC. Okay? People who do not have a job at the Center for American Progress. The only person you can link me is if they are actively a part of the consultant class and not simply LARPing as though they're working for Center for American Progress. Just Neera Tanden and maybe sometimes Shannon Watts. That's it. If you send me the other people who I will not name, I'm going to start banning you guys because they're very clearly not all right, man. Like at a certain point, you got to realize, like you are unironically sending me links of a person who is mentally unwell. Like you're sending me links from a person that is experiencing a mental health episode, an extensive, long and extensive mental health episode. Okay? There are certain people I don't touch for that reason where I'm just like, I don't want to tap the glass because I feel like it just only feeds into their mania. True, but so is Neera. Yes. But the difference between Neera and these other people is the reality that Neera Tanden works for the premier Democratic Party think tank. Neera Tanden is actually paid by these campaigns. Neera Tanden has worked on these campaigns. Like this person should never be mentioned ever again. I don't think they're not all right. You guys are looping in random Twitter users thinking that they work with campaigns and candidacies. Like that's not the case. Like these guys are in some respects just channeling the same frustrations that Neera Tanden is exhibiting, but they're not relevant figures at all, and it's very clear that they're also not, having a really easy time at it. So I don't think you should pay them any attention. Unless they're paid, unless they're mercenaries that are paid, we should shy away from, focusing on them. Okay. Neera Tanden, on the other hand, she's paid. She's paid. This is her job. So she commands the attention of very powerful people and very powerful forces in the Democratic Party. Random teenagers on election Twitter do not. Edit your tweet, you're missing a word. No, I fucked it up. It's so funny that these people. Anyway, like this is look, they're in here. Like this person probably watches. Look at this. They fucking responded to me. Did you boost AES to victory? Does nobody have any idea who you are? Like, I think for the sake of this person's mental well-being, a block is what is necessary. That's the former fan, right? That's the one. That's the one that was that took a photo with Kamala Harris. We're going to put this to bed. We're going to put it past us. I think I'm helping potentially save a life here, So, we got bigger fish to fry. We got bigger ops. We can't be dealing with fucking random teenagers on the internet, And I think some liberals get it. I mean, the Pisco guy, I've seen his clips. This is what popped up on my timeline just now. Like, he gets it, right? There are some liberals who understand it where they're like this is a which side are you on moment, right? Are you going to side with the fascists? Are you going to coalesce around the fascists? Or are you going to broaden the tent? Are you going to join the fight on the anti-fascist side? Bro, you're falling for it again?
I can say this is a big fear, but there are
Look, man, I'm not asking you to hug and kiss every goddamn liberal who recognizes the danger of Trumpism, okay? I'm just saying my expectations are low. My expectations from liberals oftentimes are low, and when they actually outperform my expectations, I'm going to give them credit. That is the fucking environment that we're in. We can't just cast aside people, okay? I'm not saying become a liberal. I'm just simply stating that there are some liberals who understand the danger, who understand the danger of fascism, who understand the danger of Trumpism, and are saying, you guys are being fucking ridiculous to other liberals who do not. Because the reality of the matter is, I am fine with people who I have significant disagreements with as long as they recognize the real danger of Trumpism, as long as they recognize the real danger of the Republican Party. I know that's a low bar to set, and maybe the bar will get higher as the environment changes, okay? But we need all the numbers we can get. We need all the numbers we can fucking get. We need it. We can't do it on our own. And that's precisely the same reason why I say, the Kamala endorsement is good. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's great. Now, I wouldn't say the same thing about, fucking Liz Cheney or some shit, right? But it's not necessarily, this isn't about, like, movement building isn't about developing an echo chamber. It's about trying to build the broadest coalition possible. No, they are attacking your character. It doesn't matter. They can attack me all day.
That have shown themselves to be effective in this country, actually, and that have addressed these concerns to the extent that they exist. And as well, the track record of moderation and collaboration from these types. And so the threat and magnitude is low. On both those grounds. And just saying communist Hassan Piker is not moving the ball even 1%. They're trying to distract you from the traitorous enemies who are currently beyond the gates and holding power. Don't be fucking marks. Don't be rubes. Don't fall for it. They're trying to distract you. Don't buy into it. This is not a real significant threat. If I thought it was, I would tell you so.
That's it. Right now, in this moment, if you think the true danger is coming from your left flank and not your right, you're a fucking idiot. You might as well be a goddamn collaborator of the Republican agenda. That's it. It's time to lock the fuck in. We can have we can issue our disagreements with one another later. What is this? When the midterms are done, Republicans are not going to stop trying to elevate Hassan Piker and make him the face of the Democratic Party. This is going to go on and on and on. Very non-zero chance that Piker's name will come up in televised 2028 presidential elections. If Hassan actually cared about the movement he's trying to foster, he would text every candidate he appeared with and tell them to fully toss him under the bus if it would help him win their elections. There's a really big if, considering dude's a narcissist on the level of Trump. And as partisan Democrats who want to stop MAGA by actually winning competitive races and flipping red seats, we have an obligation to pressure the leaders in our party to loudly and unequivocally condemn Hassan in his rhetoric. He is toxic sludge, and the right's efforts, the time to the party is going to work on a lot of people. Hasanabi Production says, hey, it's a serious question. Is your midterm strategy just to cry about Hassan and DSA every single day until November, and while boosting certain clips in hopes that it would hurt Democrats? Yeah, that is the strategy for a lot of these, like, wannabe consultants. That's their entire goal here, is to get a nod of approval from some of these fucking losers. Some of these fucking losers that have a very mercenary understanding, that want to do everything in their power to erode the left flank. That's it. This is who I'm speaking to when I say it's time to fucking lock in, dude. Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Unbelievably pathetic. You are a piss baby, crying, pissing and shitting in your diapers, demanding that people make me the primary fixture of their candidacy. It's very stupid. Why would they fucking do that, dumbass? Not only is it unhelpful advice, it's bad. Because this is not about my popularity, as I repeat over and over again. I have limited popularity. It's the under 45. We bring those people out. It's fine, right? That's good. And it certainly does help. In elections, it helped with Abdul's, clearly, and numerous others. But if someone were to come out and be like, oh yeah, I condemn this guy after fucking, doing campaign rallies with them, that makes them look weak. That makes them look hypocritical. That makes them, you're leaning into the same liberal sensibilities and liberal optics focused tendencies that cause Democrats to fucking lose. It's no different than Kamala Harris saying the wall, build the wall is a stupid, racist, expensive idea that we must oppose, to then 4 years later saying, actually, I want to build the wall and the Republicans are not serious about building the wall. That looks hypocritical. That looks hypocritical, and it makes the normies who are not paying that much attention look at the situation and go, what the fuck? What do you mean? You said you like this guy. You said you campaign with this guy. You said you don't agree with everything that he said, but now you're saying you disavow him. All of a sudden, that makes normies think you're weak. That's it. So you guys are actually demanding Abdul al-Sayed do something bad. Do something bad for his candidacy for no reason. It's so fucking stupid. Just shut the fuck up, lock in. If you were sincere about this shit, if you were sincere about winning these races, you just never would talk about this ever again. You would never highlight the Republican attacks. Because it's not like Republican media is going to stop using me as an attack ad against Abdul after he says I disavow Hassan. They're just going to double down. They're just going to double down and say, see, why did you bring this terrorist? Why did you bring this fucking terrorist on the campaign trail if you were going to end up, disavowing him later down the line? I don't think these guys understand. Like, there is a Machiavellian attitude that you can demonstrate that would require you to shut the fuck up about me for 3.5 seconds, but you can't do that because you don't care about winning elections. This is just you entertaining another fucking Twitch streamer's beef, a kick streamer, not a Twitch streamer any longer. These kinds of attacks have shown to be unsuccessful over and over again. You just want it to be successful. That's it. You don't care about Abdul al-Sayed winning, or you are fine with him losing as long as he just fucking becomes another vector of attack against me. It's very strange. Very strange behavior. No, they understand. They're just caring about their own clout. If you go down, it means their influence goes up, is quite transparent. But it's not. It's not going to go up. Their influence is never going to go up. As a matter of fact, their influence stays marginal, tiny, minuscule, irrelevant for this reason. Because while other people are focusing on putting food on their table, and that's their primary concern, and those who are actually interested in politics are looking for campaigns and candidacies that will address those desires, these fucking idiots are locked in on simply just attacking me. It's so stupid. That's the reason why nobody fucking cares about what you have to say, man. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say. These guys hate me so much. They 100% hate me more than MAGA. They've admitted it. Many of them have said that they would rather vote for Marco Rubio over someone like myself in a hypothetical matchup. And that's the kind of shit that just demonstrates your insanity. The average person hears that and goes, what the fuck are you talking about? A guy who's like pro-Medicare for all and anti-Israel over Marco fucking Rubio? What are you, insane? What are you, on fucking crack cocaine? That's their reaction. And their daddy, Sex Pestany, going through his own current revenge porn court case, has even gone so far as to say Trump is a less damaging force in American politics than someone like myself. It's just a demonstration of mental insanity. It's not, you're not showing anybody a reasonable perspective at all. You're just simply showing people how insane you are, how unreasonable you are. That's it. Yeah. When you say stuff like it's a 50-50 coin flip between AOC and JD Vance, you're not going to win any liberals to your side. You're actually not even going to win, I said it's almost a 50-50 split between Peter Thiel's fascist blood boy versus progressive. Is insane. Like these guys just need mental health treatment. That's it. That's what they need. You should have
said yesterday.
They need to fucking log off.
I do think that you should have said yesterday when Pisco moved it on you, JD Vance or AOC. I think that that's a pretty easy answer.
The thing is I don't actually know that. Like, in a vacuum with no political influence, I don't know what JD Vance's political opinions are. Like, the guy was a more moderate.
You don't know what JD Vance's political opinions are? He's Peter Thiel's blood boy. That's it. The fuck do you mean you don't know? Don't you think you should know? He's the vice president. Don't you think you should know? You fancy yourself to be a political commentator?
Republican type person. But the problem is JD Vance, like AOC, seems to have no capacity to deal with his own side, right? In that he's fully bought on to co-signing whatever crazy dick sucking shit Trump needs. So I mean, like, it's not like I would trust, even if Vance was more moderate, I don't know if I would trust him to govern more moderately if there were extremist voices in his camp. I also don't know how much he is actually like a crazy fucking crypto loony fuck after getting brainwashed and mind fucked by Peter Thiel and everything. So he might be that might just be like way too far fucking gone. But I don't know for AOC, like, I just don't know with any of these people now, like, given your opportunity to like abolish all private enterprise, and if the people backing you were for it, I don't know what her answer would be there. I'm not sure. I don't know at this point. I'm not sure. But the problem is that since these people
I'm willing to
haven't
take my chances with AOC.
Sure. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, like, I probably would, but it's a coin flip.
How do you have such an extreme view of AOC?
It's not like a 90-10. That's like a 55-45. Like, the problem is when nobody...
Lemao, I'm out of here.
Nobody has the ability to say no to anything. I just have to look and see who's around you that's going to be pushing you into shit, because I'm just going to have to assume that you're going to go along with the crazy motherfuckers on your side, because apparently nobody can say no.
Yeah. Geek streamer Destiny crashes out after watching Hassan help candidates win their race and announces he's becoming a conservative, and he blames younger black voters. This is the guy.
Oh my God, dude. I'm ready, dude. I'm ready to become MAGA. I want to become a conservative. I just want to become a conservative. At least they're honest about like their racism and everything. Like, I'll never take any of you wokey motherfuckers again. You know what we need to do? This is what we need to do.
Brian Tyler Cohen ended up taking down the Hassan post from yesterday after being messaged by D. Wait, really? That's so sad. That's such a fucking sad situation. Epstein is so obsessed with Hassan that he messaged Brian Tyler Cohen to take down a quote of Hassan, which says Republicans
Brian Tyler Cohen removed the quote.
Oh, I also... Brian said he was going to remove that thing and they'll never post
Hassan
there again. So, yeah.
Wait, what happened? Say that
Brian
again?
Tyler Cohen removed the quote of Hassan from his Instagram.
Sad.
Yeah, I messaged him and I was bitching, and he was like, I don't do my media post there, but we'll never post for Hassan.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll say this, that like I have.
Don't they claim you of this? Yeah, no, they do. They say it's always projection. It's always projection. It's so sad. What a sad thing to do. God. No, I don't think Brian Tyler Cohen is a bitch. I mean, this is a lame thing that he did. They hate you so much for that they're siding with Elon Musk and Asmongold. Yeah, of course they are. Again, these guys do not. I mean, it is a lame thing that Brian Tyler Cohen did. Oh, God. Imagine this being your primary political victory, that you got Brian Tyler Cohen to remove a fucking post. This was the only thing he took down, by the way. It was literally anti-MAGA. No, I know. This is the... Yeah, I said, it's not Islam that's subjugating women in this country. It's Republicans. And he posted that. I think Brian Tyler Cohen is still... At the end of the day, he's not in opposition to Zoran. He's not in opposition to Abdul El-Sayed. He's just a fucking straight up establishment Democrat who is way more comfortable with left flank candidates than these other fucking guys are. So if if these guys' only goal is to literally come after me, then that's fine. Who cares? Let him be fucking distracted. Okay? It is also very funny that this was in Epstein's community and it's in Hebrew. I was like, why is this why is this post in Hebrew? And then someone was like, oh, they took this screenshot from the Destiny subreddit. But yeah, you are too charitable, man. No, look, man. It is what it is, okay? It is what it is. Yeah. I think a lot of these people like Brian Tyler Cohen just don't want to be in the middle of internet drama because that's what D's community is. Yeah. Brian Tyler community's reach is so much bigger than Destiny's. Yes. But he's terrified. Here's the reality that we know. Okay. This has been the MO of Dan Stalkman and Sex Pestiny the entire time, DMing everyone they possibly think they can in order to get 1 or 2 victories to post on Reddit. These victories include collabing with Republicans. These guys have been collaborating with the Republicans the entire time. Okay. And they are going to continue doing it in much more meaningful ways. That's why they're like retweeting Elon Musk and shit like that. Are you aware your chat is full of offliners who not only spend their entire day watching your stream, but they spend the rest of the day in your stream chat? This is not a healthy way to live your life. There are definitely people that are in the chat offline talking to one another about a bunch of different shit. It's like a way to, community build. I don't know why you're very frustrated by that. They're not like talking about me. They're playing games and shit in the chat. Yeah. Brian Tyler Cohen and Pac-Man mostly post-Trump slop he's done, and that works on YouTube. Whenever you do Trump slop titles, you get similar views. Yeah. We should actually sneakily title all of it like Trump slop style, because that kind of like anti-Trump liberalism works so well. But anyway, as far as the Brian Tyler Cohen situation goes, like, look, I'm fairly certain, as long as he's not a setback, as long as he's not like literally directly opposing candidates like Abdul al-Sayed, which I know he's not because I was at an event with Abdul and he was there, early on, as a matter of fact. So he's that kind of guy. As long as they're not in opposition to left flank candidates, which I know they're not, which I know Brian Tyler Cohen is not, I'm fine with it. It's the same principle that I have for the Pod Johns. I don't always agree with the Pod Johns, or at least all of the Pod Johns. But at the end of the day, I understand that they are invested in a broader coalition, and that's what matters most to me. What matters to me is actually creating some kind of defense against Trumpism. Right now, we have no defense against Trumpism. Right now, we're literally, like, I don't think a lot of people understand this. Like, right now, we only have the courts, okay? And the courts are holding by, the courts are holding on by a thread, okay? If the courts go down, if due process goes down, if the constitutional protections afforded to every American, like free speech or even birthright citizenship, goes down, we're fucked, okay? That's it. We're fucked. We're completely fucked. So even if the Pod Johns don't like the DSA or, what is this? Maybe quit reporting terrorism that you can counter Trumpism, common sense, hey, but when you talk to a terrorist dog zapper, common sense, not useful. Brother, you couldn't even fucking write appropriately. Like, you can't do that. You can't come in here and try to do a dunk when you can't even fucking spell correctly, when you can't even apply proper grammar. I'm sorry. But in any case, as I was saying, what I was trying to say is we have to have, this is the reason why we have to have a Senate majority. Like, this is not sheepdogging the Democratic Party at all, because there is no guarantee that Democrats, once they have the Senate majority, are going to fucking do our bidding, do the bidding of the masses, do the bidding of the working class. There's no guarantee of that at all. These things take time. These changes take time, and it require tremendous amounts of effort to pull through, to push through. Okay? But having said that, we need to at the very least, put up another line of defense against MAGA. And yes, that line of defense comes through the Senate majority and the majority in the House. Okay? Democrats need to control the legislative body. And if they don't fucking do our bidding, once they have that control, we'll fight back. And this time we'll have some allies on our side inside of the legislative body. Okay? But it's still a far worse predicament not to have that majority. It's still a far worse predicament to just simply hope that the courts remain resilient, that the courts can actually still, operate as though they're working, as though they're functional. We do not have the time, and we do not have the capacity to wait it out. When you got the government talking about blacklisting communists, blacklisting socialists, which range ideologically from someone like myself all the way to fucking Karen Bass. When you got the Trump administration utilizing the FEC, utilizing the FTC, utilizing the regulatory bodies as a way to never really do their regulatory purpose, but instead to attack critics of the administration. It's like this is a terrifying moment in time that we're in. I don't think people understand that. I don't think people are comprehending exactly how bad things are. This is not about like opposing the dang Cheeto in the White House, right? This is no longer about opposing the dang Cheeto in the White House. The reality of the matter is not just like, oh, Trump is offensive and he hurts my feelings and we need to embarrass him. We're a bunch of frogs boiling in the pan right now. And the water, the heat is going up over and over again. We're about to reach the boiling point. We might have actually reached the boiling point. Do you understand? This is not about the ballroom. This is not about Trump's beautification initiatives for America 250. This is triage. We have to do everything we can to set up opposition to the administration. Okay? So I hope people understand that. Because I find it very interesting that a lot of people who would be in the crosshairs first and foremost do not recognize what time it is. They do not understand how bad they will be burned. I'm not just simply saying this to scare you. I mean, it is a scary time. I see it. I see it every day. Perhaps I see it a little bit more clearly than many others do, especially those that declare themselves to be far more radical than me because I'm in the fucking crosshairs every goddamn day, right? Like for me, this is very real. I mean, I'm the primary target here, so I see it, I feel it. Anyway, Brian Tyler Cohen not shedding his association with Sex Pestini despite clearly knowing who he is and being aware of his in progress civil suits in his red flag sexual deviancy. Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. I mean, he's always been this fucking Destiny has always been this fucking weirdo, right? He's always been this weird guy. But I guess these guys see him as like a reliable ally to a certain degree. I don't know why. I don't know what the fucking calculation is there. But I suspect the reason why Brian Tyler Cohen is like taking his notes from a dude who's currently going through, an ultra-Zionist who's currently going through a revenge porn case, is because he doesn't want to deal with the backlash from his community because his community are serial harassers. They're sending a message every time they do this shit to me. They're sending a message to all the other people too. They're saying like, look, listen, you don't want to be in the crosshairs. We'll do everything we can to make your life a living hell. I mean, this is a cyber stalking, Gamergate style operation dedicated entirely to one guy, right? They don't even hide it. And I guess it's understandable. It's a little insecure. It's a little pathetic. It's a little cowardly to just, say fuck off and move on with your life. But I guess it's not like Brian Tyler Cohen is a big fan of mine either, especially because I called out Chorus early on. And we obviously had a somewhat of a blow up when one of his Chorus content creators was just like actively shitting on Cori Bush. I was like, that's completely unacceptable. He was like celebrating Wesley Bell.
Cohen removed the quote of Hassan from his Instagram.
It's just
Yeah,
sad.
I
It's
messaged him
just
and I
a
was
sad
speaking,
thing
and he was
to
like,
do.
I don't do my media post there, but
Yeah.
You know what?
It's somewhat pathetic for Brian Tyler Cohen to like respond to Sex Pestiny in this way, but it is so much more pathetic for these guys to just like fucking celebrate this as a major W. Like, who gives a fuck one way or another? I didn't even know that he had posted me.
I'll say this, that like I have friends and they're not plugged in, and I'm like, well, what do you do for politics? And they all say like Brian Tyler Cohen. That's it. Yeah. And it's like, okay, this guy is an important guy to get for normies. Like
Yeah, see? They're like we did it. We fucking did it. We fucking did it. Major victory for you guys, man. It's so fucking sad. Anyway. So, I urge the liberal consultant class to no longer give opportunities to the likes of Mike Rogers. Okay? They won't stop because their enmity is directed entirely at me. But, you know, I hope they'll fucking wake up from their stupor. That's it. That's it. You may not know how much of a bag BTC gets a month. It might not be 12 million, but it is something. When they came after you, they couldn't shut off your money faucet. But if you weren't funded by your viewers, it may have been different. I know you walked away from a bag, not tempering your speech. Yeah.
Donald Trump was called a pedophile on Fox News by a guest who the Fox News host had on for a segment. And then after this guest, absolute Chad, by the way, started calling him a pedophile protector, talking about the Epstein files, his possible involvement in the Epstein files. The host then quickly rushed to try to get him off center stage. I want you guys to take a look at this clip. I'm actually just going to go ahead and play you the short form video that I posted.
If we're going to talk about children being raped, then we need to hold this pedophile president, Donald Trump, accountable.
Holy shit. I want to know who this guy is. I think we all need to know who this guy is. Apparently, he's a Democrat running for some office somewhere. We need to find him.
That's crazy. I'm
to know his name, and we need to know where he's running, okay? Because let me tell you,
his name is Oliver Larkin. God damn, he just knows like every fucking minutia. He knows every goddamn anti-Trump. Yeah, he's running in Florida 25. Now listen, he's DSA endorsed. It's Oliver Larkin. He's running in Florida 25 against one of the most right-wing Democrats in the country, Moskowitz. But what's wild to me is he's so fucking knowledgeable about every little thing that Trump has done, down to the fucking wire, down to the goddamn bone. But then he's just like so oblivious to the left flank candidates that he would be actually very, very well aligned with.
Told me maybe 5 years ago that Trump would be getting called a P3DO live on Fox News.
P3DO, Jesus.
Fuck, I don't know if I would have believed you. So, yeah, really, really interesting. You could just see how that host was freaking out. You could just see how hard his question backfired.
He doesn't get paid to know about these people. Okay, guys, stop being so cynical. Okay, these are people we can again bring on to our side. Okay. That was. Get Asmongold's name out of your mouth, you fascist. Wait, what? I wasn't even talking about Asmongold. What the fuck? But you're an Asmongold fan? You're an Asmongold fan who uses fascist as a pejorative? What the fuck? Dog, Asmongold is literally aligning with fascists openly. Like Nick Fuentes. Like he openly says, anti-fascist Asmongold fan is such a funny bit. I have to hear what this guy is about. I mean, Fossabot clapped him, but I need to understand. I need to scratch the surface here a little bit. But it's really funny because I wasn't even fucking talking about Asmongold at all. You have Asmongold in the mind for some reason, but this is a new guy. China is fascist. You are to you. China fascist. You are fascist, dude. What do you think Nick Fuentes is? I feel like if China was fascist, Nick Fuentes and Asmongold would be fans of China. Considering their united soft spot for former fascist developments, former fascist countries, historic fascist movements. You and Nick Fuentes are on the same side, kid? Wait, what? All right, someone roll the clip. This guy just doesn't know. Someone roll the clip. I need to hear him respond. Give me the clip. Give me the clip. You know what I'm talking about. You know the one I'm talking about where Asmongold openly says, like, I love Nick Fuentes. I'm just like funneling my viewership to Nick Fuentes. I agree with Nick Fuentes because this guy hates Nick Fuentes, it seems. Okay.
And I know because I'm one of them.
How did you not get deplatformed through all this? I simply, I am a very pragmatic person. I have no problems not saying things or not doing something if I feel like it won't be advantageous for me. So I just simply don't say things that I think will get me in trouble, and until it's okay to say them. That's literally it.
This isn't
You're
even
a
the
good
clip.
boy. Yeah, I like Nick doesn't do that. Nick says exactly what he thinks, and it's respectable. It is. I don't have any negative about it. But to me, I view my role as being a more mainstream ally towards this stuff without necessarily spearheading any sort of like real controversial change, because I can't really do that. It would compromise my position. That's the reason. I'm a funnel. Yeah, I kind of do that. Yeah, like a funnel in a way. So that's the reason why I do most things that I do are like there's reasoning behind them. You have your lane for sure. Yeah, I do.
It wasn't even that one. He was saying, I'm deliberately trying to create a pipeline to Nick Fuentes. This wasn't the clip. I was looking for another one. You have everything in common with him. It's just immigration. Wait, what? Buddy, you just watched your favorite content creator say, I am in line with Nick Fuentes. You just watched your favorite content creator that you're defending as an anti-fascist, okay? He's a Sweden Democrat according to his name. Yeah. Asmo Gold mogs you, kid, money-wise, not hairline-wise. Yeah, look at this.
French fan sent $20. You simply are the GOAT. Asmongold is shilling hard for Graham and John
Really?
Boyd. By the way, sad.
That doesn't
Shilling
matter.
hard for
Asmongold
Graham.
is a great ally. Him and I are on the same team, and he's the GOAT, and I will never attack.
Lysol sent $100.
Who do you think is closer to Nick Fuentes? Me, a guy who fucking opposes Nick Fuentes every step of the way, finds his ideology to be toxic, odious, completely wrong, completely reactionary, or the guy who is in line with him 100% and openly says he loves Nick Fuentes?
Thank you for
It's crazy how obviously Nick understands it and I understand it, but very few other people understand it. Like, no, we're not going to let people who want to subvert us try to divide us and make people enemies. So it will be easier to rule over them and to subvert them. Like, it's pure subversion. And Nick knows this. I know this. It's obvious this is what they're doing. Like, it's so clear. Like, it's so fucking obvious. And yeah, there it is. He'll not divide us. And well, they've successfully done that in a lot of cases. They have. I mean, W to Nick. I love Nick. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how this guy got banned. Like, I wonder why this got banned. This guy got banned. Oh, that's right. He got fucking banned because he was advocating to murder children. I'm done, dude. Contrunio, you patches little China stream kid. Okay. No, I don't blame Israel for everything. I don't know why you are saying that. I blame Israel for the things Israel deserves blame for, whether it be doing a genocide with our tax dollars or subverting American democracy by dumping, millions, tens of millions of dollars into pro-Israel candidates without ever mentioning Israel once. I like that you're running away, though. I mean, that's funny, I guess. You went from trying to defend Asmongold and saying that your Benjamin Netanyahu is the GOAT. Man, put some respect on his name. Okay, buddy. He's a troll. I mean, yeah, he's just Swedish. A lot of Asmongold's fans are Swedish and from Norway. It's very strange. It's a very strange phenomenon. I don't know why there are so many people, so many Euroids in the chat that just love American fascism for some reason, especially when American fascism is harmful to your national interests as well. But hey, to each their own, I guess. European white supremacists. Yeah, but I don't think European white supremacists understand that American supremacy is from the perspective of Americans, they don't think about European white supremacy at all. If American supremacy means overtaking Europe, then so be it, right? So what a lot of European white supremacists fail to comprehend is that when Donald Trump says we're going to take over Greenland, and that violates European supremacy, American white supremacists and American supremacists don't give a shit about European supremacy. They don't give a shit about European sovereignty. And they're always shocked when this kind of thing happens, where they're like, how could Donald Trump do this to us? How could Donald Trump treat us like we're, a brown country? Americans, deep down inside, don't think about Europe at all, or the ones that do understand that Europe is a vassal. And through that process of vassalization, in the aftermath of the Cold War, Europe has actually experienced tremendous downturns. The European economy is in tatters largely because Europe has been stuck between these different forces. But as a continent, as a coalition that hasn't been able to develop any sort of significant sovereignty, Europe has experienced tremendous austerity. Europe has experienced tremendous privatization initiatives. And Europeans have experienced that economic struggle. Americans don't care about the struggles of Europe. Americans, the American government doesn't care about the struggles of Europe. We've basically used Europe in some instances like a tax haven, and in others as a holdover state, putting a buffer between ourselves and the other poles around the world that we care about, that we worry about, other spheres of influence, other spheres of power. That's it. Europe is just a place to store some of our nuclear arsenal. From the perspective of American foreign policy, they see Europe as a missile sponge during the Cold War, and as a way to, put some anti-missile defense systems as a holdover stage, as a staging ground for our troops when necessary and is a holdover state for some of our nuclear arsenal. And I'm Turkish, so I understand that intimately. I understand that deeply. This is what NATO is about at the end of the day. This is what Turkey is about. This is what Turkey has been. And perhaps it's a calculation that favors a country like Turkey, because the other side of that would be turning the country into Syria. If Turkey wasn't a reliable NATO ally, then maybe it would be like Syria. It would be a failed state, constantly being, constantly having its political process be interfered with by Western forces. But if you're Europe, European sovereignty is a real threat to American sovereignty, or to American hegemony, rather. So I always find it strange when European nationalists and European supremacists actually find themselves comfortable in this vassal state, or they're just open about being vassalized to American interests, to be servile to American interests, where your interests are secondary. It's very interesting. You can't even do nationalism correctly, which I find extra cucked. Unless it's a perm ban, I don't give a fuck. Twitch has allowed this unwashed, smelly cockroach, white supremacist, Nazi brain, fuck with Asmongold to spew his extremism with little to no pushback. Perm or shut the fuck up. Some German hogs even do that with Putin. Yeah, I don't understand that either. But I find it fascinating that they do that for Putin. I find it fascinating that they do that for Trump. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know why. Like, I don't think Europe should be servile to Chinese interests either, right? But at the very least, Europe could leverage a relationship with China to get a stronger foothold against America in the same way that a lot of countries, a lot of BRICS nations have, whether it be India, whether it be Brazil. It's just the more logical play. But Europe and European leadership can't get away from their, Western supremacist ideology that is now a genuine impediment. Now, of course, there's also the economic interest here, because Europe wants to maintain its manufacturing, and obviously China is the manufacturing hub of the entire planet. And therefore, what kind of economic opportunities can you open up with China? How can you cooperate with China when China's ultimate goal is to be the manufacturing hub for the entire planet, even if it destroys the economic engine that remains in Europe, which is, of course, deteriorated significantly. So I understand that fear as well, certainly. But ultimately, it makes no sense. It makes no sense to be a European nationalist or a European supremacist or like a European right-winger who wants sovereignty, who should want sovereignty, but instead of developing sovereignty or demanding sovereignty, European right-wingers find themselves under the banner of MAGA. And when I say MAGA, I mean literally make America great again. They wear the hats. They wear the merch. They watch Asmongold. They like what Trump does, even if Trump's actions are actually putting them in harm's way, putting their economic interests in harm's way. Look no further than the actions with Iran. Donald Trump's actions with Iran are only beneficial to one party's short-term interests, and that country is Israel. It's not beneficial for America. It's not beneficial for American capital, and it's certainly not beneficial for Europe. And yet people ride for it. They're like, oh, great, you're bringing Iran to heel. This is a terrifying country. All the while, Iran's retaliation against American militarism and its primacy, the establishment of its primacy over the Strait of Hormuz, has actually destroyed the European economy further. It's caused tremendous instability. It's made it only worse. So the Europeans that hate Russia, for example, for invading Ukraine cannot comprehend that America's actions in Iran is hurting them all the same. And it's backfired spectacularly. And yet, the European far right still rides for MAGA. Very strange stuff. I don't understand it. It's not, I mean, you have no self-preservation at that point, you know? You have no self-preservation whatsoever. Anyway, let's get back to the Michigan race now. What El-Sayed's win means for the Dems' battle against Trump's GOP.
Sayed and gubernatorial nominee Jocelyn Benson. Both of them will be on the show. The current Michigan Secretary of State. They gave rousing messages to voters last night. Listen to this.
Who do you want Michigan's leaders to work for? The people or the powerful? Right? The people. Well, you all know who I'll work for. All of you and every Michigander in this state, not the highest bidder, not corporate interests, not Donald Trump, you.
We fight for the families barely able to put their groceries in the cart and check out. We fight for the mom who's worried about the child care she needs to be able to work a job that barely pays enough. We fight for the folks who are afraid about what happens if they get sick. We fight for each other.
They will be here along with Congresswoman Haley Stevens, who lost to El-Sayed in the Senate primary. And a reminder, Michigan is just one of the battleground states that is key to the fight between Democrats and Republicans for the Senate majority. Alex Eisenstadt of Axios and Jessica Taylor of the Cook Political Report are back with us. Jessica, I think a lot of reporters and folks who care about this a lot and pay attention a lot, last year was kind of rolling my eyes at some Democrats who were saying the Senate was going to be in play. And including you, I think.
No, not me.
Okay. He's like, I didn't say it. So we were all wrong. But it seems like there's a real sense, not just among the Democrats, but actually the number crunchers, people like you and the folks at Cook Political Report, that there is something happening around the country. And I guess if you had to pull out a couple of themes that are you're seeing.
Europeans genuinely have an insanely neurotic level of race solidarity. They're willing to burn their entire continent and sacrifice themselves to prolong American/Western hegemony. Yeah, I don't get it. Because Western hegemony and American hegemony are two entirely separate things, because European hegemony is undermined every step of the way. America doesn't give a fuck about European interests. I guess the reality is, like, Americans have been able to successfully dupe European leadership into believing that, like, they have the same dog in the fight, or rather, European capitalists do have the same dog in the fight, and therefore they have been able to convince the European masses into believing that American interests and European interests are the same, one and the same. I think that's what it is, right? That makes the most sense. This is the consortium of international finance capitalists, petro-capitalists, capitalists from different nations that are, of course, single-handedly or single-mindedly in unison, representing their class interests. And one of the greatest ways that they can dupe their countrymen is to lean into, white supremacy, European supremacy, and positioning America as the singular force that can defend white and European and Western hegemony, Western supremacy. Yeah. Frankly, insane story about how a Trump-linked American drilling company is setting up equipment in Greenland to make exploratory borehole despite being denied permission by the Greenlandic government. So much for sovereignty, I guess. Yep. This is just, this came out this morning. Yeah. It's really interesting because like it's obvious that American capital, and I guess European capital as well, doesn't necessarily care about the European citizens. But then again, American capital doesn't care about the American citizens either. And we still have plenty of proles and lumpen proles, of course, but plenty of proles nonetheless who don't recognize their class position and assume that American capital is still better than anything else.
Popping up when you guys are talking to voters and
Yeah.
talking to the candidates, what are you hearing?
I mean, I think it all comes back to just costs, that people
Yeah.
feel like everything is too high. And I think that Abdul, he talked about money out of politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all.
Very
Truly incredible how
Yeah,
Hassan
I
can be
think it
wrong
was-
at every turn, like it's intentional. Yes, you're right. American hegemony has been unbelievably beneficial for Ireland. Just say what's wrong so we can have normal discourse instead of just like complaining like this. What do you take issue with?
It really resonated with voters,
Give an
especially
example.
about putting more money back in your pocket. I mean, Haley Stevens was not a great candidate on the stump. I think she struggled to get her message across. She did better at the end. But we have to remember that this was a very close primary, much closer than the polls showed. And so
Yeah, it's a close primary. It doesn't mean anything. It's a close primary only because of the tremendous amounts of money that were spent. Okay? That's it. American cultural and institutional hegemony, particularly within the imperial peripheral core middle zone, is genuinely quite underwhelming and deadly. China is the only major country in the world that's basically vaccinated and inoculated from this because of the Great Firewall. Even countries like Russia have their chuds, and reactionaries basically ape American culture war chud theatrics, like hatred of LGBTQ and whatnot. I mean, these are just like powerful forces of tribalism that I think people in positions of power deploy, regardless, you know? That's why there is this hog universality that I speak of, right? You got hogs. I mean, bro, you got hogs in Iran too, you know? There's chuds everywhere. Chuds exist in every country. I don't think the Russian anti-LGBTQ policy is deployed as you know, as a byproduct of like American supremacy or American hegemony. I think Russian anti-LGBTQ policies are deployed as a mechanism to control the population. It's just they have their own chuds. They have their own chuds that see the same benefit of destabilizing the masses, right? The European right follows what Americans say, as seen by how we import your culture war issues. They don't apply to us like affirmative action. I know. Bro, Japan. Remember when I went to the Japanese Communist Party headquarters and I was asking them about trans issues? And they were like, yeah, people have started to panic about trans stuff here. Japan is another country that has been destroyed as a byproduct of being an American vassal. Reform talks about DEI in universities disadvantaging white people despite access schemes being entirely based on economic factors like going to a bad school, being on a free school meals, and ending up massively helping the white working class Brits. They're also yank brained. Yeah, this is a more direct way that American brain rot actually subjugates the Western chuds. It is a fascinating phenomena to observe, though. Like, there is this chud universality, this hog universality in every country that America touches in a meaningful way, where the chuds in your countries have become Ameribrained. It is a chud hive mind. It's a hog hive mind, where it is this ironically international American nationalist movement. Fascinating stuff. And I guess it's because of the liberal monoculture, the American cultural supremacy, the American cultural imperialism that has set forth, like Hollywood broke the brains of every single person. That's part of the reason why I am so assimilated to American culture, right? That's why I sound and look so American, because I grew up with American culture. I love American culture. I consumed all of the cultural artifacts.
I think that this unity breakfast was clearly a first step in trying to unify the party. But do those voters that she won, she won more reliable Democratic-based voters, like black voters, older voters, white working class voters. So is Mike Rogers able to pick those off? This is why I still thought that Stevens was the stronger general election candidate. And, there's a real attack on his association with Hassan Piker, things about 9/11. Does he continue to appear with him? That is where.
Yeah, dude, you're right. Mike Rogers is hitting Abdul al-Sayed on 9/11 because of his association with me, and not because he's an Islamophobic monster and Abdul al-Sayed is Muslim. Yeah, that's why the Republican Party immediately in their media hit, in their press releases, started calling him Abdul Rahman Mohammed al-Sayed because of his association with me. Like, why are we playing dumb? I mean, I guess it's because, she's white, she doesn't understand it, she doesn't care about Islamophobia, or might have those same exact concerns, okay? These are, like, you have every opportunity not to lean into the bigotry, to be like, well, this bigotry is actually a pretty valid line of attack because I agree with it. It's crazy. Don't say it's fucking concerning. Call it out for what it is. Who else was on those ads? Zoran Mamdani, Ilhan Omar. They were on those ads too. Abdul al-Sayed's own statements were on those ads, also out of context. I find it really disingenuous. And it sucks because media figures are not equipped with the appropriate knowledge or the appropriate talking points to counter this kind of thing, where they just sit around and they go, yeah, I guess you're making a good point. She's not making a good point. It's totally ridiculous.
He is really vulnerable, and Republicans are not being coy about this. They're using his full name in videos and things.
Is the Hassan Piker thing a real thing on the ground? It is one of those things that I'm unclear how much it breaks through to actual voters, because I think most people don't actually know who.
Like, this is a pollster saying yeah to that question. It's not a real thing.
Hassan Piker is. I think we know. I think the people on the internet know. I think the average voter who is dealing with the high costs, who are dealing with lost their health care because of the Obama subsidies weren't expanded. Like, do they care? Like, I'm just not convinced that Hassan Piker is going to be an actual on the ground.
Well,
issue.
I think if you put $30 million behind an ad in Michigan that says that he associated with someone who's called 9/11. That it was justified. I think it's going to be a real problem, especially as
even if he's apologized for it.
Even if he has, but you still have the clip out there. That's what goes in the ad and different things.
Well, speaking of the ad and them using Dr. El-Sayed's full name, he's going right at that. And Mike Rogers, this is an ad, this is him yesterday at the rally in Michigan. Let's watch what he had to say about that.
I'm up against a guy named Mike Rogers. And Mike Rogers, well, he's decided that he wants to focus on my name. I got some opinions about his name. See, it's very fitting for him, Rogers. Because that's his answer every time a corporation or Donald Trump tells him to do something. Mike, we need you to put a data center in the backyard. Roger. Mike, we need you to hike their prescription drug prices. Roger. Mike, we need you to rubber stamp this war we shouldn't be fighting. Roger. Mike, and this one's Donald Trump. I need you to lick these boots. Roger.
Not the boots.
I mean, not the boots, but I mean, that what we just saw there sort of exemplifies, I think, why El-Sayed is so good. He's a great communicator. That Roger bit was very good. But the other piece that Eugene reacted to is that he's not afraid to go there. And he's sort of giving voice to what Democrats, what we've heard from around the country, they want people who are going to fight. And that shows fight.
We're going to see how good a candidate this guy really is, right?
Because Mike Rogers is not going to be a pushover.
Right, and Republicans are going to spend a lot of money in this race.
Yeah.
And they're going to dump a lot of opposition research on Abdul's head, things that maybe we haven't heard about yet, but we can only
might not even be true.
Stuff that we don't know what's coming down the pike, right? But we're going to get a sense of how good a candidate he really is, and that's what separates, who ends up winning is what separates the Major League Baseball players from the AAA players, right? And we're going to get a sense of if he's an MLB player or a AAA player.
Right.
It's also interesting, Jonathan, because you brought up that clip, the issues that he chose to include in the Mike Rogers name calling. Anti-data centers, hiking prescription drugs, rubber stamping a war, and being extremely deferential to Donald Trump. I mean, those are not communist socialist issues. Alex, you had a piece this week that the GOP is planning a socialism
Yeah, so here's what it is, right? I'm glad that they're finally parsing through this. It's still wrong in the sense that, like, oh, well, there's still the underlying premise that socialism and communism is a scary, bad, Americans don't want it, of course. But they're finally, at the very least, like, not doing the GOP's bidding. Because anytime these guys turn around and say, well, he is kind of radical, they're doing the GOP's bidding for the GOP. And it's actually much more damaging because liberals have the institutional persuasive capabilities on CNN, on the MSNBC platform, on the CNN platform, when liberals themselves are leaning into the Republican attack ads and going, well, he is a little dangerous. We got to hand it to the GOP. That's, in my opinion, far more dangerous than Mike Rogers being like Abdul al-Sayed did 9/11. Because when Mike Rogers says that, every liberal is going to hear that and go, you're a fucking racist piece of shit. You're eating Trump's dick and balls. Shut the fuck up. But when they see liberal platforms channel that same message only to say that it's actually a really salient narrative, right? It's a really reliable narrative that actually has far more consequential impacts on the minds of liberals who are tuning in. You don't need to do that. You can just say the truth. You can just turn around and say, no, these guys are desperate. They can't talk about the economy, which they did to a certain degree. They can't talk about the economy. They can't talk about how bad Trump is. Obviously, there's nothing to lean into with Trump. So they're just pulling off the oldest trick of the book. Pure, unadulterated, unfiltered racism. That's exactly what this is. And no liberal worth their salt, regardless of their disagreements with Abdul or regardless of their disagreements with me, regardless of their disagreements with the DSA, should ever lean into that. Okay? When we, in this community, oppose certain things that Kamala Harris were doing, we didn't fucking hit her with Republican lines of attack. It was an opposition to the closeness that the Democratic Party had to Republican policies. Because first and foremost, we're ideologically committed to anti-fascism. Okay? That's it.
At their midterm convention in Texas. They plan to use their first ever midterm convention in Dallas next month to mount a sweeping, made for primetime case that Democrats have become captive to their activist left. Axios has learned they're essentially planning.
Their goal is to drive a wedge between DSA, myself, this community, our base, and the Democratic Party, knowing full well that there are a lot of Democrats who will bite the bullet, who will absolutely lean into this bait. It's a trap. Okay? It is a trap. The only way that we lose, and when I say we, I don't mean just like DSA left or the Bernie-crats or the left populists. I mean the only way that the anti-Trump coalition loses is if we lean into these attacks. That's why I'm telling you guys right now, we have to be very careful. There are a lot of liberals who hate the left more than they hate MAGA, and they are going to lean into these lines of attack as they have done so far. Okay? This is a real which side are you on moment. Are you a fascist or are you an anti-fascist? Are you willing to coalesce around Trump or are you willing to coalesce around as broad of a base as possible of anti-Trump forces? Okay? It's going to get nasty. It's going to get dirty. And there are plenty of those who will readily admit, I analyzed Neera's tweets. Barbarism Critic says, I analyzed Neera's tweets and a whopping 67% of them were attacking progressive Democrats versus just 33% attacking Republicans. Interesting priorities. Someone should ask themselves why she finds those who call themselves socialists twice as much as a threat as fascists. You have to remember this. There was never a moment, regardless of my disagreements with the way that Kamala Harris ran her campaign, regardless of my criticisms of establishment Democrats leaning into Liz Cheney, leaning into the Biden dead weight, there was never a moment where I urged my viewership to vote for Trump. And there will never be a moment where I will ever urge my viewership to vote for a Republican. Never, ever. And what these guys are now entertaining, some of them at least, some of them are openly entertaining voting for Republicans. That is completely unacceptable. Okay? Lucky for us, they don't really have a base. They don't have any motion within the moderate wing of the Democratic Party either. I'm sure you know this from your parents, right? I'm sure some of you have very moderate, self-identifying liberal parents. They probably hate the Republican Party. They probably hate Trump. Do you think they would ever vote for a Republican or Donald Trump? Hell no. Hell fucking no. No matter how libbed up your parents are, there is 0% chance that they would ever find themselves going, you know what? This Democrat is a bridge too far. As a matter of fact, they probably like Abdul Sayed. They probably love Zohran Mamdani. You understand? These people are not simply playing politics in the primary. They have a higher ideological commitment to opposing the left. You know how we've said, like, there are some in the Democratic Party who oppose the left with far more severity and far more, they're far more interested in destroying their left flank than opposing Trump. Neera Tanden is one of those people. The Democratic Party, on the other hand, broadly have shown that they are more serious than this. That's why I welcome the Kamala Harris endorsement of Abdul Sayed. That's why I welcome the sea of endorsements that came in the aftermath of the Unity rally. It's very clear that there are some Democrats who are party operatives who care about opposing Donald Trump far more than fighting an ideological battle against socialism, against communism, against their left flank. That's it.
But their worst campaign, targeting the ascendant Democratic left and socialism. Jessica, do you, in all of the research that you're doing and all the time that you spend steeped in the numbers, is this going to be effective?
I do. I still think that the midterms are going to be a referendum on Donald Trump. That's what it comes down to.
I'm on your side on this, but what do you say to the people who suggest you provided the same amount of friction towards Harris that centrist consultants are now pushing on Abdul? Yeah. The difference is they're leaning into Republican lines of attack. I was demanding that Kamala Harris actually wake the fuck up and take a stronger opposition to Trumpism, stronger opposition to MAGA, stronger opposition to the far right mass deportation sentiment coming from Donald Trump. Do you understand? I was demanding that Kamala Harris cut her losses with the Biden administration, which was dead weight anchoring around her neck. Those were good points that I was delivering. And instead, they leaned into this mythical moderate center, this mythical moderate centrist voter, and that's why they lost. My demands for Kamala Harris was not for her to listen to me as some random fucking dickhead on the internet in the same way that these random fucking dickheads at Center for American Progress and whatnot are demanding Abdul listen to them. My demand was for Kamala Harris to listen to her base. Because at the end of the day, that's the major difference between someone like myself and someone who works for a think tank in Washington, D.C. They have no base. We do. I am a representative of this base within the Democratic coalition. And it turns out I was right. We were right to make these demands. Although the overwhelming majority of this community voted for Kamala Harris, they plugged their noses once again and voted for Kamala Harris, she still lost. And she lost because she leaned into the right-wing nonsense. She didn't put distance between herself and Joe Biden. She didn't lean into the early excitement that carried her into the DNC. An excitement that was born out of the fact that she was not Joe Biden.
But if they can make some of these candidates out to be too extreme, too scary, we saw in 2022 that candidates matter.
Do voters buy this language specifically that these candidates are socialists and communists?
I think
this is a better example. Cory Bush lost, and you will not be behaving like them to Wesley Bell. Yeah, exactly. I hate Wesley Bell, but I'm not going to fucking talk about Wesley Bell. It's over. It's done. He won. He won overwhelmingly. It got carried once again by AIPAC money. And now he is a part of this fucking Democratic Party coalition. When the time comes and he tries to create a hurdle against, legislation that tries to dial back Israel's violence, for example, we'll have that conversation when we get there.
someone like Roy Cooper, they don't buy it for in North Carolina. They don't buy it for a Sherrod Brown in Ohio. But with the more progressive candidates, that's where I think it's risky, because this isn't New York City. This isn't Denver. This is a real test of whether a more progressive candidate can win in a place like Michigan. I mean, I'm watching the Wisconsin primary coming up this Tuesday. You have an actual Democratic socialist. I mean, I think that the language gets fuzzy. They're sort of painting everyone with a really broad brush. Right. But you have an actual Democratic socialist that is running in one of the most quintessential swing states for governor, that I think she really puts that race more at risk. But again, is the wave big enough for Democrats that doesn't matter? That might be the case. That's one reason why we kept Michigan Senate in toss-up. But I think it still is Republicans' best pickup opportunity. And why Wisconsin Senate, even if Francesca Hong wins on Tuesday, we're going to keep that race in toss-up as well.
Democrats, what's so interesting about Democrats is often they kind of allow Republicans to declare what the rules of the road are. They let them say what the debate is going to be about. And, you know, I've been talking to a lot of Democrats, both moderates and lefties, about, like, why is that the case? Like, you know, Alex, you cover Republicans in half for such a long time. Like, they are very good at saying this is what this election is going to be about, right? This socialism conversation, right? This communism conversation. They are forcing every single Democrat to have to answer that question. Instead of the Democrats saying, this is ridiculous, reporters. You know, they say that on other things, but on this, they're like trying to say, well, I don't believe what Francesca's saying in Wisconsin. It's like, no, you don't live in Wisconsin. Say that. And I'm curious, when you're talking to Republicans, do they feel like, despite all of the wind at Democrats' back over the last year and a half in different places, how good or bad are they feeling about the midterms, both the House and the Senate?
When you're talking to them privately, they'll concede that the winds are at the Democrats' backs. I mean, they'll say that, right? I mean, they definitely think that they've got an uphill path to keeping the House. and they think they're still favored to keep the Senate at this point. One thing, though, to watch as it relates to Abdul, though, and the convention that you just mentioned is that the convention's timing is interesting because it ends the night before the 25th anniversary of 9/11. And so you've heard Republicans refer to Abdul by his full name. It's going to be interesting to see how they message that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it's going to backfire. Abdul al-Sayed is too much of a homegrown America lover. Like, will it work to a certain degree? Are there people who will hear his name, see the color of his skin, and immediately go, yep, I know exactly what I know about him? Sure, there will be. But elections are not about winning every single vote. Elections are about winning enough votes. And I don't think you can build a very broad coalition against Abdul al-Sayed by constantly just going 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, Islamophobia, Islamophobia, he's a terrorist, he's a terrorist, he's a terrorist. It's just not going to work. I think most people will look at that and recognize it for what it is. Most people will look at that and go, well, I want the guy who's, offering to fight for me, offering to fight against the influence of corporations and politics, offering to put my interests first, offering me health care. That's it. Because the other side of this is, and I said this about Kamala Harris too, if you guys remember, like her being a black woman from California was a hurdle. It's a white supremacist country. A lot of people are going to look at you differently, right? But it was a hurdle that she could have climbed, right? I said this about Kamala Harris as well. I've said this about AOC when people say, oh, America's not ready for a female candidate. You're wrong. If Barack Obama, as a black man whose middle name is Hussein, could do it, anyone can. It's just that Barack Obama, and I'm not talking about his governance here, I'm just talking about his campaign, totally separate things. Barack Obama ran a very good campaign. They said he was unelectable too. He was able to muster up these progressive forces and ride this wave. He was the hope and change candidate. They hit Obama with the same exact he's unelectable bullshit. You said that to Mehdi, yeah.
A Democrat. Who would you pick between Gavin Newsom and Rahm Emanuel?
Oh, God. Oh, shoot.
JB Pritzker. Come
on. Lefty.
Pritzker or Chris Van Hollen?
It's not even a question. AOC is, out of all of the people that you mentioned, like AOC is the only one that I would like.
And you think she could win general election?
Yeah,
in a misogynistic, racist country.
Yes,
where
I do.
People are
yes,
a lot of misogynists and racists in this country.
100%. Absolutely. America was built on the foundations of white supremacy and elected a black man whose middle name was Hussein.
But you know that the position on Barack Obama.
Like, I don't have any, like, I know it'll be difficult. But ultimately, in my opinion, it's far more difficult to win on moderation with a white guy than it is to win with good policies being delivered by a brown woman. That's it.
Some racism might be popping up,
I
is
think
what
we
we're
know.
hearing.
Real quick, we have to go, Jessica, but I want to follow up on something you just said. You said that Michigan is the best pickup opportunity for Republicans, and that the Cook Political Report still has it as a toss-up. I'm just wondering, is there a Senate race that could be an unexpected pickup for Democrats that you're keeping an eye on that could cancel out the loss of Michigan?
I mean, the map is growing, and so I think you have Iowa and Texas that are in that next tier to get them but those are still double-digit Trump states. I moved Kansas this week onto the competitive map. So, there are these really red states. That's a 16-point Trump state that because Democrats have recruited well, and, sort of the Maine debacle and everything aside, they've recruited well in states like North Carolina, Ohio, Alaska, and that's one of the reasons why they're in the mix for Senate control.
I want to talk more about Kansas next time. Alex Eisenstadt, Jessica Taylor, thank you so much for joining. Michigan's Democratic candidate for Governor Jocelyn Benson, who currently serves as Michigan's Secretary of State, joins us now. Good morning, Secretary. Thank you for joining us, and congratulations on your big week.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna skip the rest of it. Yeah, he's just cooking. He's cooking.
Joining.
This was interesting. We gotta win a dang election. Representative Stevens is fired up to help Michigan Dems secure wins in November.
Yes, now Congresswoman Haley Stevens of Michigan. Congresswoman, welcome to the weekend.
What's your thought on her? I mean, look, I think she's I still very much oppose Haley Stevens' worldview, but it's impossible for me not to give her credit for immediately snapping into action. It's great. It's very important. That she is a party loyalist, okay? She's a party loyalist. She is a real workhorse. You know what I mean? She's giving it, she's doing the stick it to him. Haley Stevens is growing on me.
I have to get your reaction to a story in the New York Times from Thursday